Halo 5 is a very interesting Halo game. On one hand, there are tons of people who hate its focus on Spartan abilities and the power that it gives you, the player, but on the other hand, there's actually tons of people that love those exact things. Halo 5 definitely released somewhat light on content, a trend that has become awfully familiar for Halo fans, but unlike other games within the franchise, Halo 5 within the first year had become extremely complete, with basically a little bit of content for everyone. You had Forge, Warzone, Arena, Social, with a very fleshed out sandbox with tons of different weapons. Unfortunately though, fan reception toward the campaign and also the multiplayer meant that the next Halo title, Halo Infinite, would end up basically nothing like Halo 5, leaving the huge Halo 5 fans wishing for something more for the game that they loved. Well, today we're going to hop in and check out some Halo 5 in 2023. Alright, here we go. We got some Halo 5 in 2023. So to make it even crazier, we're actually playing Halo 5 Forge because I don't have an Xbox. So if you don't know what Halo 5 Forge is, I'll just make it super brief. But basically it was the Forge mode that was ported to PC, but you can also play custom games. It's not the best client in the world. It's a little bit buggy, but some people, for a while it had a little niche player base, and ever since Infinite came out, it's pretty dead. But I popped it open tonight just to see, and there was a couple lobbies, so I decided, you know what, fuck it. Well, let's finish out the Halo series. Now, these guys are playing basically HCS setting free-for-alls, which is pretty fun. I was a big fan of the HCS settings in Halo 5. It's the later HCS settings. I felt like they did a pretty good job. Early HCS settings were a little bit questionable with all the autos and everything like that. But yeah, so we're playing some Halo 5 here. That guy was definitely AFK. I actually tried to record this video on xCloud, and that did not go too well. So I was planning on just not making the video at all. But yeah, here we are playing some H5. I am whiffing like a mother. So H5 is obviously a bit contentious, Some people really loved it. H5 has some of the most dedicated fans in the Halo fan base, other than maybe Halo 3 kids. But it also has a huge faction of Halo fans that just hate the game completely. And there's good reasoning for both sides. Obviously, this is basically the advanced movement Halo. So there's a lot of mechanics in this game that are not present in any of the other Halos, and was a pretty big departure from what made Halo Halo. But the game also had a focus on hyper competitive gameplay and trying to be an esport to some degree, even though that had mixed results. But at the end of the day, Halo 5 to me was always really fun. Sure, the game didn't launch with everything we would have wanted, similar to another game that came out, but what they did in Halo 5, unlike Infinite, was they slammed out content. This game was getting monthly content drops. You're talking maps, game modes, weapons. The game was getting so much content that one of the developers actually just said it was basically unsustainable after Halo 5. And from my understanding, one of the reasons they kind of had to stop pushing so much content was the engine was just getting pushed to its limits. Now, I don't know how true that is, but yeah, basically the engine was just, it couldn't take it anymore. They couldn't add in more stuff. Now, unfortunately, on Halo 5 PC, we can't play things like Warzone, and we are basically just limited to whatever lobbies are up. I would love to play some Fiesta or something like that, because I feel like Fiesta was really good in Halo 5 because of the extensive sandbox, which also, was because of Warzone. And Warzone, don't get me wrong, definitely has its issues, with the rec packs and everything like that. But I do feel Warzone probably could have been brought back and iterated on, and instead they kind of just threw it away, similar to a lot of other Halo game modes in the past. I'm actually not going to lie, we're doing surprisingly decent. I thought I would just kind of get pooped on because I haven't seriously played Halo 5 in a long time. I don't even have a proper controller anymore. I'm just playing on a default controller because my scuff broke. So I was definitely expecting to kind of just hop on here and get clapped a little bit, but we're not winning or anything, but we're kind of holding our own. Oh god damn it. We're on Plaza right now, which is honestly one of Halo 5's best maps. This, Coliseum, and Truth were my three favorite maps in Halo 5. Obviously, Truth is a remake of Midship, so it wasn't totally brand new or anything like that. But yeah, Plaza is really good, Coliseum's really good, and they were fantastic maps for competitive, which, was kind of what Halo 5 was focusing on. I mean, when the game dropped, it literally had nothing but ranked playlists, so... Oh, I got him. To this day, people will argue that Halo 5 has the highest skill gap of any Halo, and I'm not trying to make any enemies. I'm not going to stick my flag anywhere there, but I will just say Halo 5 definitely has one of the higher skill gaps. in Halo, and it's definitely a more skill-intensive game than Halo Infinite because of the gunplay with the Magnum, instead of a really forgiving BR, and also the movement. The movement in this game has so much more room for, you know, showcasing your skills than the movement in Halo Infinite. So to this day, and honestly probably forever, you'll see all the big fans of Halo 5 constantly talking about stuff like that with the skill gap, and I did not mean to go back up that, but oh, fuck. Now, there were downsides to Halo 5, obviously. Like I said, a lot of people weren't a fan of the added advanced movement. It does kind of change the way Halo plays. Instead of being a more kind of calculated and decision-making game, it did turn Halo 5 into basically like a mechanics-driven game. I mean, obviously, it's still Halo. Teamwork and team play and positioning still matter. But with the movement and everything, there's a lot more room for mechanical outplays. And with the pistol having a pretty fast time to kill and also being a 5-shot single-shot weapon, the gunplay also is a little bit higher skill than in Halo Infinite. So the game's definitely harder to get into, which, you know, has its pros and its cons. For the top level players, they can kind of exert their skill, you know, to a higher fashion, but you can argue it's also a little bit harder to get into. You know, not every noob is going to be able to do all the movement mechanics that you kind of need to get around the map efficiently. And honestly, even as I sit here today, I can't do half of the movement mechanics that kind of were figured out later in Halo 5's lifespan. I was a Halo 5 grinder during the first year or so, and then I kind of fell off competitively. And after I kind of fell off the game, it completely continued to evolve. People continued to learn new movement mechanics. They refined the settings. When I was still playing competitive H5, like, you still spawned with an AR and ranked and stuff, so it's, oh my god. It ended up being a lot different than the Halo 5 that I was really grinding. And I do think the end of Halo 5 was the best Halo 5. It just unfortunately took a long time to get there. Now, one of the big, you know, kind of questions is, should 343 have continued down the path that Halo 5 had started, you know? With Infinite, they kind of reverted a lot closer to classic Halo. It isn't classic Halo, but they went more in that direction. So a lot of people kind of wonder, should 343 have built off of Halo 5 instead of kind of throwing out everything they tried in this game to go with something new? And that's been a problem with 343 their entire time, is basically every game is wildly different than the previous. You know, you had Halo 4 and then you had this, which are completely different games. And then you had this and Infinite, which are also completely different games. Whew. So yeah, let me know in the comments, did you like Halo 5? Do you think they should have built on Halo 5 and sort of had like Halo 5 2.0 as Halo Infinite instead of, you know, Halo 5? But obviously a big reason that Halo Infinite turned out the way it did was because of the reception of Halo 5. Now, story aside, which was heavily criticized by everyone, the multiplayer was a mixed bag. Some people did really love it and some people hated it. And like many 343 Halo games, it did struggle with player retention. But the people that stuck around were very hardcore about the game, and they continue to kind of rep it to this day. So it's hard to say. I mean, in a different world where the new Halo was built off of what they started in this one, it's hard to know whether or not the state of the game would be any different today, or if it would even matter, because, you know, a lot of Halo Infinite's issues aren't necessarily mechanics driven, right? They're the fact that the game hasn't been getting updates, it has bad netcode and everything like that. Now, unfortunately, Halo 5 probably didn't get the full life cycle that its fans would have loved it to. Basically, what happened is the first year or so, like I said, it was getting those updates basically every month, and big updates too. And then after that, they pretty much slowed down for the next year. There was a couple more updates, and then after that, big updates completely came to a halt. The only updates after that were basically Forge playlists or community-driven updates, and so you didn't see new maps or new weapons or anything added into the game after those first couple years. And so I've always wondered, if they had stuck at it, if Halo 5 could have had a revival similar to something like Rainbow Six Siege. Now, Halo 5 was always up against kind of a hard task, and that's the fact that Halo 5 was an exclusive to the Xbox One, which isn't an overly amazingly selling console. Like, it's not terrible by any means, but the player base of the Xbox One definitely struggled, and you could argue maybe part of that it's because the first party games like Halo 5 didn't really sell the console like in the past with Halo 3 or something like that in the Xbox 360. But regardless, the install base was definitely much lower, which led to a smaller potential player base. That said, though, they clearly still had player retention issues with the players that did check it out on Xbox One. So, you know, a lot of people wish this game would have gotten a proper PC port because, like I said, the PC port we're playing today is pretty scuffed. It's not really anything to write home about. It serves its function, which is for people to forge on and kind of play customs, but beyond that, you don't have matchmaking. It crashes a lot, and it's just not a fantastic product. There is a mod called Exuberant, which lets you change FOV and things like that, which is nice. I don't have that installed today because I didn't feel like installing it, but it does kind of give you some quality of life features that this doesn't have. But I do kind of wonder if Halo 5 could have been successful if it had gotten that PC port. And you know, honestly, if it had had good mouse and keyboard gameplay, I could see a game like this at least having a niche player base on PC. So obviously Halo 5, it did have a lot of issues, and you know, it wasn't a perfect game, but I enjoyed it for what it was. I thought it was fun. I really enjoyed all the community-driven and Forge-driven playlists that they put into the game, like later on, with things like the H3 throwback and the Mythic playlist and all that stuff. I think the community team, or basically the live service team that were tasked to kind of keep Halo 5 going, did a fantastic job. Come back here. Oh, I wish we could play Warzone on PC, but unfortunately we can't. I haven't played Warzone in years. Oh, we got a dub. And a perfect, dude. Oh, okay, we got him. I thought I was going to whiff that. Oh no, we could have had a triple. Dude, the perfect is just, it's so satisfying. Obviously, we still have it in Infinite, but this is the first Halo game that had it. And I feel like a perfect in Halo 5 with the Magnum is so much more satisfying than the BR in Halo Infinite. Oh my god. Alright guys, that's going to do it for the video. I hope you enjoyed some Halo 5. Let me know in the comments below what game we should check out next, and I'll see you all next time.